So here we have Archer, and we're just going to do Archer's go home video. We're going to show you how to work with him in your home. If he messes up during this video, that's perfectly fine. It's supposed to be showing you how to positively work through this and keeping things in a good positive manner and keeping Archer intrigued. So we're going to start with his sits and downs. I'm going to get his attention, make a noise, get him to look at me. That's handler focus. Tell him sit, hand gesture up. Good boy. And then rewarding that with a treat or praise. So we'll do that again. I'm going to finish the treat so his focus is on me and not eating. Archer, sit. Good boy. Good job. I can do a treat and praise. The biggest thing with sit is if he's pawing at me and putting his hands on me, I don't want to give the treat. I want to wait till those paws are on the floor. We like the saying, forward to the floor, before he gets the reward. So this way, he's not getting rewarded for any batting behavior. So sit. Good boy. Good job. So sit, and now we're going to do it down. So I'm going to reference the floor, tell him down. Wait it out. Wait till he goes nice, flat, and relaxed. He's really excited right now. So I just want to work through that excitement. There we go. Good boy. If I just gave him the treat when he's in that kind of pounce behavior, he's not in a proper down. And we want to set him up for success for down the road as well. So tell him down. And just like that, he goes nice, flat, and relaxed. Good boy. Good job. So sit. And then down. Wait it out. He doesn't get the treat until he's nice, flat, and relaxed. Wait it out, wait it out. Yes, good boy. And he's really excited right now. The purpose of this video is not to show how perfect Archer can be, but instead to show you how to work through these fun puppy antics. Down. Good boy. Good job, good job. So sit. Yes, good. And down. Yes. Only saying those commands once, and that goes for all commands. I don't want to be like sit, 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 or down, down, down. It ends up ruining the command for him. So to set him up for that best success, we say it one time. Sit. Good. And then down. Good boy. Good job. So for this part of Archer's go home video, we're going to do his kennel on the weight. I'm going to show you how it is we work on that. So I'll start by taking a treat and open it up. Watch out, mister. Good job. Take that treat, show him I got something good. Toss it in, tell him kennel. If he doesn't see it, I'm going to take it and kind of lure him in a little bit further and then drop it and kind of point it out to him. Because he is very much so like looking for the treat, excited for it. And then I'll tell him wait. So when he goes to barge out, using that noise and closing him right back in there. I don't want to let him out. I don't want him to think that's inappropriate behavior. So telling him wait. And it might take a couple of minutes and even some repetition, especially when he first comes home. Telling him wait. Wait till he settles. He did find that other treat that I had thrown in there, and I want to make sure I have his focus. So I'm not going to do anything while he's eating a treat. So telling him wait. Okay, good boy. And that release word is always okay. So we'll do that again. Take a treat, toss it in, close this behind him. If he goes to back out, I'm not going to force it. We want to keep the kennel in a positive place. Toss that treat in, point it out. Good kennel, good boy. Wait till he settles. Wait. It's a little distracted, so I want to make sure it's fair to him. Wait. So when he goes like that, I'm just going to gently put him right back in there. And the reason for that is if I let him out, he's going to think, wow, I got away with it one time, and now it's going to become a game, and he's going to try and barge every time. Archer. Wait. Okay, good boy. And again. Down. Good boy. Make sure he sees that treat. Close him on in there. Wait. And make some noises to cue in that handler focus if I need to. Wait. Wait. Okay. Good boy. And as he gets a little older, a little more mature, you'll be able to kind of work up those time frames to make them a little bit longer. Good boy. I'm going to close him on in there. There we go. Wait. Okay, good boy. yes. Using positive marker words like yes, good boy throughout all of his training. Toss it in, tell him count. And as you see here, we do have a blanket in there with him. It's actually a soaker pad. So if you were to have an accident, at least the soaker pad absorbs it and not him. But it's always great to have a barrier between the crate tray as well as your puppy. So this way he's not laying on the hard tray and it sets him up for success down the road for his hips, joints, etc. So I'm going to tell him wait. Okay, good boy. Good job. So another thing is, at nighttime, you're going to always want to crate Archer on an empty tank to set him up for the best success of not having an accident. So a good thing to do is you can always use a crate safe toy. So something like this. Get him excited. With that. Toss it in, tell him kennel with the toy, just like I do with the treat. Close them in there. You leave him in there for the whole night or whatever it is you're going to do. Always making sure though you crate him on an empty tank. That means that he just went potty, so he's not going to be set up to have an accident. And then I would tell him, wait. Okay, good boy. And it can sometimes just be praise. You don't always have to give him a treat. Good job. So we'll do it again with the treat. Take it, toss it in, tell him kennel, good boy. Another thing to keep in mind is we don't just use the wait command with the kennel. We also use the wait command when walking through doorways or across the street. It's a good safety command. When we walk through the doorway, it's the same thing I'm doing with this kennel door, is I'm going to close him back in if he prematurely breaks away. And then with the side of the road, if we go to cross the street and I tell him wait, then he kind of goes to barge. We walk away from the edge of the street and start on over with that. So I'm going to get his attention. Wait. Okay, good boy. Good job. So we're going to do this one more time. Take that treat, toss it on in there, close him on her. Give him a little bit of a nudge if I have to. There we go. He's a little distracted by the other trainer in the room, that's fine. Archer. Archer. I'm going to get the focus. I'm going to make a noise. What are you doing? Good job. Hey, mister. So keep it focused. Hey, keep it positive. Good boy. It's just because she's over sitting there, she made a noise and he was kind of just trying to get her attention. Archer. So I'm going to wait till he's giving me that focus. So if he were in the kennel and he was whining and crying because he's in a new environment, so this is a great kind of setup for that to be, I'm going to wait till he's quiet. So I'm not rewarding the barking. Now that he's quiet, I'm going to get his attention. Archer. Wait. Okay, good boy. And the reason I say that is if I were to let him out while he's barking, whining, or crying, it's going to be feeding into that behavior and creating a habit. So I actually want to do one more where we end on a good note. What's that? What's that? What's this? Make sure he's really excited for it. Toss it in, tell him kennel. Good boy. Always using a crate safe toy. So something he can't ingest, so no plushies, or even a long-term treat. You can also do a Kong ball filled with like peanut butter or plain yogurt. And then you would toss it in. Same thing though, always make sure I have his attention. Archer. Wait. Okay. Good boy. Good job. Of course, he's still very young, so he can work up to be stronger with this, where you can open the door all the way. But where he is, for his age, he's doing really, really good. You just want to make sure you're setting him up for the best success and continue to practice this a lot. So, yeah, that was his kennel and wait. Good job.
So for this part of Archer's go home video, it is his stay commands. So I gave him the sit command, which is the hand gesture up, flat open hand saying stay, and he did prematurely break right off the bat. All I did there was take him back to the same spot and put him back in the same position. I then created some distance between Archer and myself, walking around, kind of being a little distracting. He broke away again. I kind of scoop him up, take him back to the same spot, and put him back in that same position, and then flash that flat open hand saying stay. This is all about repetition and following through. It's also important to understand that I do not give treats at the beginning of this command, nor during, just at the end. I'm then praising him and then saying okay as the release word, and that's when he gets the treat. So we're going to do it again. I'm going to get his attention. I'm going to tell him sit with that hand gesture up, flat open hand saying stay, and then again creating distance. If Archer goes to break or his body language signals like he might break away, that's when I'm going to use that noise to tell him I don't appreciate that behavior. I do use positive marker words throughout this whole command. So every once in a while saying yes, good boy, and walking up and praising him. But I do not give treats when I praise him. And if he does break away and I have to take him back to that same spot and put him back in the same position, he does not get praise for that either. I want him to understand that the praise is reassuring him that he's doing a good job. And if I were to pet him when he broke away just like he did there a moment ago, he will think he's being rewarded and praised for breaking away. And we don't want that. We want him to understand that sit stay or down stay means that he has to stay in that same spot and that same position. So you're going to see that I'm walking up to give him that release. I praise him, and then I get a little distance between my hand and Archer, and I say, okay, in an excited tone of voice, and reward that. It's important to note that this is not a touch release. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm lessening the anticipation. When Archer gets really strong with this command, I'm going to be able to leave the room, create quite a bit of distance between us, and I'm not going to ever give that release word from a distance because I don't want him to think that when I leave the room, maybe he can go. It kind of keeps him wondering. Whereas if I walk up and I praise him, his handler focus is cued in, and he has to understand that I'm either going to tell him stay again or I'm going to give him that release word. So again, he has to be focused and paying attention. So now he's doing his down stays. This is the same as the sit stay, only difference is he's in a down position. If Archer were to pop up from a down stay to a sit, I would still walk over and put him back into that down, just gently kind of pulling his legs out from under him and kind of plopping him over gently. He's really good about this. But the whole point of that, again, is to make sure he understands he has to hold that position. It would be the same as if he was in a sit and he laid down, gently picking him up from that down and putting him back into the sit. Because these are structured commands, and if you continue this structure when he comes home, down the road, he will have some phenomenal sit stays and down stays. I also want to mention that, as you saw a moment ago, Archer kind of rolled on his back wanting a belly rub. I do not give belly rubs during the down stay. Down stay is when a puppy or dog is on their belly in a proper down. So when he was on his back, I waited out, stood there until he kind of flopped back over, and that's when I gave him the stay. I will not reward that with belly rubs. You should not praise him with belly rubs throughout this down stay. And the reason for that is, again, that these are structured commands with structured positions. Also, the reasoning for putting them back into the same spot and same position is I want him to understand he has to follow through. So at the beginning of either command, I will give him the sit or the down gesture, and he has to go into that on his own. I'm not going to put him into the sit or down. And that's when I then give the stay. Anytime he breaks away after doing it on his own and being given that stay command, I want to put him back in the same spot, same position, because if I wait too long and I try to take him back to that spot and lure him into a sit or down, it's going to go over his head when I'm asking of him. You want to try and get your puppy back into that same spot, same position within roughly 10 seconds. Of course, there's times we turn our back and we don't notice. The sooner the better though. Picking him up, taking him back, putting him back into that same spot, same position, and starting over with that stay command. Then you can start to give those positive marker words again and praise him. He's doing really, really well with this. Yes, he has broken away a few times, but for his age, he's doing really, really great. Here, I am just ending on a good note. We ended on a strong note with both sit stay and down stay in this clip. Then giving him his strongest commands, which are sits and downs. Doing this at the end of each training session sets him up for best success of wanting to continue to learn and makes him look forward to the next training session. Here we are working on his place command. I reference to the bed just with a pointing gesture. He goes on. Again, this is very similar to the stay commands. There's no treats at the beginning of this, nor during it. The only difference between the sit stay and down stays are that the stay commands are far more structured, whereas the place command, Archer can kind of walk around on the corunda bed, lay down. He can do jumping jacks, backflips, whatever he wants to do as long as he's content on the bed. He can also down the road have a long-term treat or crate safe toy, but for the purpose of this video, I just want him focused on the place command. So as you saw a moment ago, he did prematurely break. Same thing I do with the stay commands. I scoop him up, I take him right back to that bed, and we start over with the place command. Only difference is there's no structured position. I'm going to bring some distractions in. So this is a laundry basket, and he wants to kind of check it out. Again, using that noise when he breaks away. So I kind of scoop him up, take him right back to the same spot, which is the corona bed, and then make sure he's content and settles in. And then I'm going to go back to making some distracting noises and being a distraction, because you want to use this command in situations where you want Archer just to go and be content. So a great example is if you work from home and you want Archer to kind of sit there while you do your office stuff, that's a great time to do this command, as well as if you have house chores to do. Again, he is very young, so that's why he's breaking away several times, and that's fine. It's all about repetition and having patience. So when he breaks away, saying and scooping him up, putting him right back on there. As you give him praise throughout this, again, just no treats, as well as I am saying positive marker words when I am at a distance. This is the same thing as with the stays, though. I do not give the release word from a distance because I want to be able to leave the room. At the end of this clip, I actually did step into the bathroom, out of sight, out of mind, and he held it, and I was very, very impressed with that and very happy, so he got lots of praise. And I want to make sure he understands that I appreciate that behavior. So again, just kind of pointing to the bed, telling him place, saying when his body language signals like he's going to prematurely break, and then he settled in. So I said, yes, good boy. Any of those positive marker words. Created some distance, made some distracting noises from a distance, talked with my coworker while he was holding this. Again, it's just to have him go and be content. He is doing really, really well with this for his age, so I am very happy with where he's at. So I'm going to walk up, going to praise him, good boy. Then I'm going to tell him place again because I am then creating distance. So again, not giving that release word from a distance lessens the anticipation so that he understands even if I leave that room, he's not getting the release word unless I'm next to him. So then I praise him, create a little distance with my hand and him, and I say, okay, and that's when he gets the reward. So the biggest thing is, again, just remembering the timing for when to give treats, trying to keep it successful and positive without getting frustrated if he kind of messes up, and always just reassuring him he's doing a good job, especially when he's doing what you want him to do. As you see, he's kind of laying there, being very content. Archer is an awesome pup. He is so sweet and loving, and he's doing really great with all of his training. I have no doubt when he does come home that you are going to be very happy with his training, and as long as you continue to practice this and keep up with it, he is going to do phenomenal for you, just like he is doing for us here at Lewis Manor. So I'm stepping out of sight. There's a little room over there. He couldn't see me, and he did really, really good. I said, when he broke away, scooping him right back up and putting him back on that bed. I'm not praising when he prematurely breaks. I don't want him to think that's acceptable. Then I step out of sight again. He's looking for me, and that's perfectly fine. There's just no anticipation of when I'm coming back. His foot was touching the floor, so I did put it back on the bed with him because I don't want him to think it's acceptable to army crawl. And then I pulled out the broom, which is a great distraction because this is a time that you might want to use this command in your home, like when you're sweeping or vacuuming. So I pulled it out. I'm making noise with it. When he first saw it, he definitely was intrigued and wanted to kind of go towards it. So I said, and he settled right back in. He can check it out. Remember, he's allowed to move around on this corunda bed. But if he goes to step off, that's when I'll say, And like there, he kind of stepped off, turned him right back around, and put him back on that bed and continued with that place command. This way he understood that even though he was very intrigued and excited, he has to follow through until given that release word. So I'm going to put the broom away now. Again, stepping out of sight when doing this, and he's still sitting there quite content. He's a very good boy. So praise him. Good boy. Yes, good job. Reminding him of place. Stepping out of the room again. I believe this is when I stepped into the restroom just to be out of sight, out of mind. And he's definitely looking and watching, but he's not breaking away. And that is the end goal with this command, is to have him understand he can be content there even if I'm out of sight. And then I'm going to come back here in just a moment. And I was very impressed, very excited. Told him, yes, good boy, good job. Gave him lots of praise. And then I gave that release word, which is okay. And then I gave even more praise because I was very happy and content with how he did with this command. And lastly, ending with a sit command to end on a positive note and make sure he looks forward to training next time.